Special edition. We have our Kane County Republican Candidates Forum, our third guest here, and we appreciate Mike Hunzinger with our time here on WRMN and all of WRMN. We are going to say hello to our old friend Tom Hartwell, who candidate for Circuit Clerk. Tom, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Jeff. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. We're delighted to have you here. We have about 20 minutes left in the program. Tell us about yourself professionally and personally, sir.
Oh, well, sir, personally, I've raised my two sons, David and Danny, here in the Elgin area. Been very involved in youth sports over the years. Actually coached the state championship Elgin Continental Little League team, the seniors, which are the 15 and 16-year-olds, back in 2007. Coached them to a state championship, which was definitely a proud moment. All those young men, fine young men, enjoyed doing that. I was also past president of Elgin Continental Little League as well, and got to know a lot of great people. My background started with in college, went to Augustana in Rock Island, Illinois. Great school. 70% of all students that graduate from Augustana go on to postgraduate education, which includes me, because from Augustana, I went to University of Iowa, obtained my Juris Doctor, my law degree, and as well as a master's in business. After I finished there, actually while I was at school, I served as a senior note and comment editor for the Journal of Corporation Law and published 2 articles. Upon graduation from Iowa, worked for one of the largest firms in the country. I spent a couple of years there, decided I wanted to try to build my own practice, and as that practice grew, eventually opened that in South Elgin about 19 years ago.
All right, well done. You're so involved with everything. I'm enjoying that, and we were recently at a gathering where the kids who were on that championship team came back, and they just adored you and the season they had, the summer they had in 2007 for that state championship.
Oh yeah, that was fabulous. I was motivated to write about that event, that state championship, and of course I published the book Striving to Win,
right.
And that's the event you were talking about. And yeah, I appreciate your help in promoting that.
That's a wonderful moment. You're running. Let's remind you, you're Tom Hartwell. You're running for Republican primary for Kane County Circuit Court Clerk, we should say, Clerk. And tell us why you're running and how you're going to go about this.
Yeah, the reason I'm running is, I've always focused on serving other people. Even in my practice, that's why I've been very successful, is because I care about my clients as they come in and their problems and trying to help them. And it's very motivating to me. And I'll share this story, and it really sums up what I'm about. I remember to this day a mother sitting across the desk from me. She was crying because her son was in jail because he got involved in gang activities. And she turned to me and said, Mr. Hartwell, is there anything you could do? And I was helpless at that moment. There was nothing I could do. Later, I ran into a young man named Joel Perez Jr., and he's a former gang member. And I was able to help him establish a couple anti-gang programs, one in Elgin, one down in Aurora, very successful. In 2 years, he was able to get 30 young men to quit the gangs. And that's why I'm running for this office, is I have a dedication to serving other people. And this position, it's a clerk's office. What it involves is court files. However, it's a service. It is providing a service to the public that nobody else can provide for themselves. And I wanted to be able to do it in an efficient manner, also a courteous manner. And it doesn't cost anything to be courteous.
That leads us to and you're very courteous, young man. Well, leads us to our next question, your qualifications for this office. Let's crystallize those for the folks listening.
Certainly. I'm qualified for this office. First of all, I'm an attorney. I've been in the courts for 27 years, so I have a very good idea what's supposed to be happening in those courtrooms and how the filing system is supposed to work. Also, I have a master's in business. This office spends over $8 million a year and needs to be managed. There's also over 100 employees that need to be managed as well. And finally, I did serve on the county board back in 2000, so I have government experience. I understand what government is about, how it's supposed to be cooperative, because that provides for constructive actions by the parties. I respect other elected officials, and I expect to be respected in return.
Why should people vote for you, Tom?
Well, one of the things is I have a driven personality to drive to success. When I went to Augustana, as I said, I didn't just get a major, I got a double major. I just didn't graduate. I graduated magna cum laude. When I went to law school, it wasn't just going to law school. I also got an MBA while I was there. When I was in school, I just didn't publish one legal article. I had two. Then later I wrote a book. When I started practicing law, working with one of the largest firms, like I said, that wasn't good enough. I wanted to have my own practice. This drive to success is what motivates me. I want to be the best that I can be. I want to take the situation that I face and make it better.
And that almost leads us to our next question. Tell us what separates you, drive being one of those obviously, separates you from the other two candidates in this primary.
Well, people are looking for change. As I've talked with so many voters already, they're concerned, number one, about their tax situation. And we need to have fresh ideas in order to bring about the change in government. As I said, this office spends $8 million a year. We need to have a new way of looking at how to save money. First thing I want to do when I go into this office is to do assessments, find out where the money is being spent, where can we save money, and where can we increase efficiencies with the employees that are there. Many, many good employees in this office. I applaud them tremendously. However, there's got to be ways to find out how to manage them so that they're working smarter with the time that they have.
As we talk with Tom Hartwell right now, who is candidate for Circuit Clerk here on King County Republican Candidates Forum, special edition right here. Yours truly, Jeff Myers, with you on WRNN. Earlier we heard from Chris Lawson, King County Chairman candidate, and Terry Hunt, still in the studio with us, a King County Auditor candidate, Republican side. Crystal, tell us how the lawsuit involving the computer system, what does that mean to the average folk? And in your words, what are we talking about there?
If you're talking about first the lawsuit that was filed, Deb Seiler, who's not running, was the circuit clerk, and she needed additional funds to pay employees to do the work. And this is one of the things about this job that is difficult. A circuit clerk must look to the Illinois Supreme Court, first of all, for guidance, because they issue rules. The state legislature passes laws. The local chief judge passes laws, and then of course we have to issues rules for how the courts are to be handled. And then finally you have the county board, and they're the ones who fund the circuit clerk's office. So you have these different players that need to be coordinated, and there was definitely a miscommunication. And what happened was Deb did not have enough money to pay her employees. There was a impasse that was created, and a lawsuit had to be filed. And in the end, the court ruled that those salaries needed to be paid, and it was about $500,000 in salaries. The problem is the attorney's fees to come to that conclusion was $450,000, $460,000. That was just a waste of money. In the end, nothing was decided by the court or going through that system that couldn't have been found out prior to filing of the lawsuit. If I'm in an office, if I'm a circuit clerk, that is not the way we go. We work things out. We find solutions. We find common ground. That's what the voters want us to do.
Yeah, stay out of the big problems and keep the ship running, if you will.
Absolutely.
As you look to this office and with your future plans, tell us 2 or 3 of the initiatives you might look at as you step to office.
Well, one of the issues you touched on as well is the computer system. There is discussions about $12.5 million computer system. Now, I applaud the county board for moving forward with, looking at a new case management system and data management system. I don't believe $12 million is a number that we should be starting at. I know the computer field is very, very competitive right now. They're looking, all these computer companies are looking for business. The economy is not the best, and we should be letting them compete against each other. We need to do what's called consultative selling, research by RFP, which is let these companies come in at their own dime and tell us exactly what they have, and even, if necessary, run pilot programs to show us exactly what is going to happen. And these companies, many of them, are willing to do it free of cost just so that they can get the business.
Sure.
And this saves money.
That's almost like an organized bid process, is it not?
Correct.
All right, so that would be one of the things you look at right away with that. Tell us some other
Absolutely.
things you would look at.
Also, one of the first things that I would do if elected would be to sit down with all the employees. It's like knowing your team. You know, finding out what the talent is, finding out what motivates the employees, find out what they can do, because happy employees are productive employees.
Sure.
So that's the first
And
thing.
how many employees would that involve?
I think there's 113 right now.
You'd be talkative there, young man.
Yeah, well, it's you got to do your job.
Sure.
Yeah. And from there also I would do assessments of the office, taking a look at the various systems, whether it be the phone systems, the computer systems, to find where we could save money and become more efficient. With those two proficiency audits, I think we can get a good start and a good handle on cutting costs. Chris Lawson, and I applaud him again for looking to freeze the tax levy. The thing is, if we freeze government spending or lower it, then you don't have to raise taxes. And that's why this office is very important.
All right, and we're going to ask you about some of the things, maybe 2 or 3 more things that you're most proud of. We know your great run as the Little League coach for the 2007 championship, and most proud of your August Standard to Iowa schooling, which is very well done. Tell us some of the other things you'd be proud of, sir.
Well, really proud of my sons. My older son, Dave, he's a junior at Lyon College in Batesville, Arkansas. He's there on a baseball and golf scholarship.
Wonderful.
And but not only proud because he's good at sports, but he's also a math major and wants to be a math teacher. And that public service, is something that I'm proud that he's looking to do.
So your son says, Dad, I love baseball, I can hit a curve, and I love math. That's an interesting combination, isn't
Well,
it?
the thing, he's a left-handed pitcher.
Oh, okay, I can throw a curve.
Well, that career hasn't quite ended yet, so he still has some prospects, even pro prospects.
That's great.
But he's smart enough to know that may not come about, and he's getting a good education while he's at Lyon College. And then my younger son, Dan, is a senior at Burlington Central High School. Honor student, three-letter sportsman. But he's thrown me a curveball in a sense. He comes home one day and says, Dad, I'm going to join the cheerleading squad.
Wow.
So right now he's doing competitive cheerleading. He's accepted and is planning to attend Mizzou, University of Missouri, as in the pre-dentistry program.
That's a good school down in Columbia, Missouri. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Good broadcast school that we all should have went through, Mike.